Hello and welcome to the next episode of Learning Curves. Today on Learning Curves, we get to talk about my favorite topic of all time, which is travel. Yay! So excited
Mine
about
too.
that. I have my guest here, Mr. William Vangroll. He's a travel agent, and your agency is called Fora?
Correct. Four.
Yes, Fora. And he helps families make memories,
Yes.
which is awesome. That's the one thing that I love traveling, as most of you know by following me on my Instagram page. I'm always going somewhere. Someone's always like, "Where in the world is Kelly?" And I'm somewhere. So I love travel, and I'm so glad that you're here. I'm so glad that we get to talk about this today.
Yes. Thank you for having me.
And you're welcome. I know that this Learning Curves is a podcast for businesses, but us business people, we need to take a break. It's important that we take time for ourselves and for our families and venture out into the world and travel. Right. So I think you can give us some great advice today.
Love
so
to.
Tell us a little bit about your travel agency and all the things that you do.
So Fora is a travel agency that is tech forward, and their purpose is to sort of redefine the travel agency world as we know it. It's a very old school industry, in that the services are still very antiquated. They were invented in the 80s or earlier than the 80s, but they still seem to be centered around the 80s. So they're really forward thinking and modernizing the booking platforms and pushing technology and integrating social media into how they deliver content out to their clients. They have really great relationships with a lot of partners worldwide, and they leverage that partnership for the benefit of their clients.
That's great. I think in today, because travel agents, that the way people travel and search and do everything online now,
Right.
They have access to a lot. And what's attractive for us too is as we're scrolling, and that's smart to move into the world of social media, because that's where so many people spend most of their time.
Right.
And the one thing that I know that stops the scroll is when you see something about travel. I know that stops
Right.
my scroll all the time. I'm always like, instantly will stop and be like, I want to learn more.
Yes.
I want to look at this picture. I want to read the caption, find more out about this great place that just came through Costa Rica, Europe, wherever. But that a travel always seems like it's the one thing that stops people to want to take time,
Right.
look at that, dream a little bit, and hope.
Right. We all want to see us in that picture
Yeah.
on the beach or on the yacht or wherever that place is. And so that's what attracted me to them, was that idea of getting out there to the client as much as you can in this social world that we're now living in.
Very smart, and I think that will go a long way.
Yeah.
With that change that you're making, because that's really where it's all at right now.
It is.
Most people are not even leaving social media, where they can just stay there and have that book now where they can click on it and get right to your website, where they don't have to go someplace else. They
Yep.
almost prefer that.
Yeah. Yes, and you can do that through the website, through their portal. You can reach out to me through them, and it's very seamless. And they've all done on the back end, which is, it seems intuitive in today's integrated ways, but travel agencies aren't there. They still want you to call. They still want you to phone a friend, and that's just not the way we travel today.
Yeah.
We all are just, I see the picture, I want to go there. What's the fastest way I can get there? And so that's what they're doing. They're trying to facilitate that.
Well, that's good. But it's still important that you work with the travel agent, because they're going to have that one-on-one customized.
They're going to have that knowledge of what's behind that picture.
Yes.
And how to get you to that picture. And that's what's really important, is making those connections between what the client's looking to do and how to get them to that point. And that's where advisors come in. And we have the boots on the ground knowledge, we have the experience, whether ourselves or the team at large that the agency has. The other great thing is the forum that Fora brings to the table. There's hundreds of agents. So I can just type in our social media and our social platform, Costa Rica rainforest, and I'll get 10 advisors to say, oh, you have to do this, or you have to contact this vendor. They are the best, within minutes. So then I can come back to my client and say, hey, it's not a problem. I know 5 places that I can reach out to, varying prices. We can get you there. We can make it happen. Let's do it.
I think one misconception that people might have today with using a travel agent is how much is it going to cost me, and am I going to pay more to use your services than booking something direct
Sure.
online?
Yeah, so it is free for the consumer. The resorts pay us a commission, so there are 0 booking fees. There are 0 transaction fees to the consumer. There may be a fee. The airline industry still does not cut up with today's world. So their system is, that's a whole nother podcast about how cumbersome their system is. If you've ever booked an airline flight, you understand.
I think everybody understands.
It's worse on the travel advisor side. So it just stresses me out. So if we don't recommend buying or doing airline tickets. So, but we primarily book packages, resorts, and it's 0 fee for the client. Where a service fee may come in play is if you would like us to plan a week's vacation or an extended itinerary. So to plan daily activities or to make reservations at restaurants and to really get into that, there may be a service fee involved.
No, that makes sense because that's planning
Right.
itineraries, especially detailed ones.
Exactly.
There's a lot of work that goes into a lot and a lot of phone calls and things that
Right.
you have to do.
And if you don't want to do that, an agent certainly can put you in touch with recommended vendors at that location. A good agent should do that. So if you're not getting that level of service, change agents.
And I think it's important. A travel agent can help you with that trip because I travel quite a bit where I plan my own trips and things like that, and you can run into a lot of snags by trying to book things online that you maybe thought you did something but you didn't
Right.
do something, or maybe you didn't push a button, or
Right, that's a great point.
a couple times when I thought I booked a couple reservations in Paris, and when we showed up, we didn't really have a reservation.
Right.
I thought in my head I booked the reservation, but
That's
something
the worst
happened
feeling.
because we all get busy and there was no reservation. So I think having someone like you helping out, it's definitely worth paying that extra fee to, this is kind of what I'm looking for, this is what I want, and having somebody go in there and do that because it's also very time consuming.
Right, and your time is valuable. And we, like I said, we are incentivized to make sure that that is correct. And we communicate with the reservations team, not only when we make the reservation, but a week out. Typically, we recontact the hotel and say, hey, my client's coming there in a week. Are the perks and upgrades on their reservation? You have them confirmed with this room at this rate. There's no surprises. And then you reach back out to the client and you say, everything's a go. Nothing has changed politically in this country, or there's no one's, anything going on. Your reservation's fine. So there's that level of assurance and comfort that the client can then feel like we can just show up.
Yeah, that I'm definitely going to get that. Because I think you had mentioned to me as well that one of the benefits of working with a travel agent is, yes, there are these online where you can book online, or maybe even you have a credit card where you're utilizing your points and you maybe get an upgrade, maybe
Right.
you don't get an upgrade. You never know until you get there. And sometimes they promise things
Right.
within that you don't, when you go there, you have a big surprise that, no, I'm sorry, we don't have that today.
Right. It's all
Yeah.
dependent on
And
check-in.
that happened to me in my last trip also.
Did it really?
Yes.
Oh, that is so frustrating. You have that anticipation of,
Yes.
am I or aren't I? And a travel advisor has those relationships with those hotels, and nothing's guaranteed, but in terms of a upgrade or things of that nature. But we're gonna have better relationships with the hotel to get you a spa credit or free breakfasts in the mornings, or even an upgrade, early checkout, a late check-in, an early check-in, late checkout. We have those relationships with the hotel. If we if we receive feedback that our client didn't get those things or something went wrong, we're not going to recommend that hotel again. So that hotel is going to lose us as a client if we're a high volume agency booking with that hotel, or even the small boutique hotels, and that feedback gets back to our clients. We're not going to renew that partnership. So it is really a great partnership that we have with these hotels so that we can offer our clients perks and upgrades that you can't get through other online agencies.
Oh, that's a great benefit. So what is your favorite place to, if you were, like, what's your favorite as a travel agent? I know you said you had been very busy booking Disney vacations, and now you're looking to get into some corporate retreats.
Right.
You want to talk a little bit about that?
Sure. You know, the corporate retreat space is interesting. In this day and age where all of our employees are somewhere close, some are far, the idea of a corporate retreat is needs to be reinvented and rethought, thought through. And what we're seeing, believe it or not, is our cruises. Company retreats are migrating to cruise ships because
I can see that cruise ships are perfect for that.
they're all inclusive.
Yes.
The company doesn't have to worry about paying a per diem for food.
Right?
You don't have to arrange this big troop of people going out to one restaurant, or what if that person doesn't like that restaurant?
Yep.
It's all right there. You can bring your family if you so choose, or if the company allows it. There's usually kids clubs depending on the cruise line. So the kids are occupied during the day and everyone's happy. So
Yeah, entertaining people. There are plenty of entertainment.
right, you have that built-in entertainment at night if you want to take advantage of that. So it's a built-in ecosystem that a lot of companies can take advantage of at a reasonable price. So you can do a higher volume of people at a good price. Whereas if you're at a mega conference center in some city, then you have to worry about catering and food and whether or not they have the right hotel space and
Transportation
from the hotel, and it just the ands that one corporate coordinator has to think about is very overwhelming. And one of the tips I would offer companies these days is to shorten the duration of a corporate retreat and maybe have more of them throughout the year. Rather than one big blowout annual meeting for 7 days, have 2-3 days. Do one in the spring and one in the fall, where
Oh, that's good advice.
you can, again, because we're all so spread out, you can bring that team together more often.
Yes. And I think today in the corporate world, and with so many companies working remote, and I'm actually getting ready to, we've started hybrid here as well. I'm getting ready to rent out my office next door because I just been doing this now for about 3 years, and it just works for all of us.
Right.
And having that time once a week when we come into the office, but we had actually talked about getting everybody together, and do something fun like a cruise.
Right.
Because they have the meeting rooms on the cruise ship that you can have your meetings.
They have
and
corporate
then
space as well as the entertainment. And it allows for a lot more freedom as well. Even though you're confined onto a ship,
Yeah.
you have the ability to go in one of the 5 or 10 restaurants. You don't have to all go to the same Starbucks on 5th Street and meet at 7 a.m. and then walk over to the conference room on 9th Street.
Right.
It's a little bit more organic. Even though it's structured, it's that freedom of choice that we all like.
Yeah. Besides a cruise ship, do you have any other recommendations on great places to take your team for a retreat?
Yeah, there's some really great smaller hotels. If you're not looking for the big mega conference, but even if the big mega conferences, my recommendation would be to stay away from the big cities. There's a great hotel, the JW Marriott down in Marco Island, is a big convention area, but it's a small town. So you've got smaller restaurants, you've got more availability to cater to your group, and the hotel. The tendency when you go to a destination like Disney, especially for corporate retreats, is to bring the family, to bring your kids. You're in a corporate retreat, you're in a meeting all day.
Yeah.
Your child or your spouse are in the parks. They're going to want to see you at 5 o'clock when they're tired and cranky and ready for dinner.
Yeah, I'm not a believer in the Disney retreat
No,
thing.
I'm not either.
But
I don't recommend it.
maybe
It's-
because we live in Florida. That's the reason why.
It is so easy, and
Where
there's
it's
so
in our-
much space
it's in
there.
our face all the time, but I don't know.
But
Every
it-
time I hear someone like, okay, we're going to go to Disney for a convention, I'm like,
Oh,
not that I don't have anything against the mouse, but
No, and it
I
has
prefer
nothing
my
to do-
conventions to not be in
but
such
it's
a family
purposes.
environment.
Yeah. You're trying to bond and build. You're trying to either build a team in that space or introduce a new product in that space or whatever. Their mind's going to be on their family in the park. They're getting texts from their wife. What time are you going to be done?
Yes.
Where are we meeting for dinner? And it's a built-in level of distraction that you don't need.
Right.
So
I agree with that.
go to a smaller town like Marco Island or even like Charleston. I would even see Nashville is probably too big for something like that, but like Memphis would be a good size.
Don't worry about you. People coming back with a hangover in Nashville.
Right.
Too much of a watch out for the party towns.
Nashville is
You
very
have a lot of
tempting.
productivity the next day.
Not a lot of productivity. So things like that really help. The idea of building community in a small town, you can get out and get the feel of a town, but still have a purpose of, all right, I'm here to learn, I'm here to build a corporate bonding with my coworkers.
And so you can step in and help a company get all that set up.
From A to Z. I can either take it off if there's no one at the company that's their job, I can take that responsibility and plan it and set up group discussions at the hotel. Or if you even want to rent a large house, we can do that. And we can have catering come in. We have partnerships with catering companies and food vendors. So the whole gamut, we can take care of that. It's actually a trend now that the Airbnb and VRBO model is expanding to the corporate world and the corporate retreat side of things. Mm-hmm. So there are big McMansion style places that are catering to that as well. And there are 30-room hotels or 30-room manors that can handle that level of corporate retreat. So
I like that kind of corporate retreat because it keeps everybody in a nice, intimate setting.
right. It
Where
is.
they can, again, get that sense of community and togetherness.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes if you get it in too big of a place, you get everybody kind of spread out and you're
Right.
not bringing everybody together. That
You have to
It's the whole
measure
reason that
the
it was
built-in
meant
level
for.
of distraction of where you're going with what your purpose of the retreat is.
Yeah.
If your purpose is to have fun, then you may want Nashville. Mm-hmm. And there's less education going on during the day, but there's more bonding at night and in the morning. That may be your goal.
Right. No, that's all great. That's all great advice. And let's talk a little bit about, I think that you said you're venturing into doing more international vacations. So that's something really exciting.
Yeah. So and it's the same theme. I recommend. We're seeing after the pandemic, now that everything is open, we're seeing a lot of smaller towns in and around Europe reach out to us for more tourism partnerships. And we mentioned Paris earlier. Paris is always going to be busy. It's always going to be in demand, but it may not be the right place to go if you're nervous about big city travel. But 2 hours west or 2 hours east would be perfect. Same with Germany. If you don't want to spend a day or a week in Frankfurt, Strasbourg may be perfect. It's a big enough city where there's culture, where there's things to do, but you can still feel like a local.
Yes.
And I
That's
think travel now, that's all what we're looking for is what is it like to live here?
Exactly.
What is it like to talk the language, to be a part of the community?
That is great advice. It really is. I recently just got back from a trip in France.
Very nice.
And we experienced just that. We did spend a couple days in Paris, but I had been to Paris before. So a lot of that stress that you would have on the first time there was kind of gone because I had already kind of knew what we needed to do, where we were going to go. But for first timers, I wouldn't make Paris your first stop because it is really stressful and I'm not sure how much you're going to like it. But the towns in France, there are so many great ones. We got a car and drove through a lot of towns and we probably stayed up 4 different places,
Nice.
little cities
Wonderful.
throughout, and just stayed for a couple days. My husband loves, he's a foodie. He got up every day, got his coffee and his croissants. Well, we walked around to all the markets. I loved to shop. They had, finding out what cities have little French markets, and I knew which ones had what. And it's great advice because you do feel like a local, and they're very friendly. They want you there.
Exactly. They want you there. Now that everything's opened up, they are craving that interaction again.
They really are. And the bigger cities are more like, oh, I have to deal with you. Like, I'm busy. But the smaller towns are so welcoming and very relaxing. Can learn
My
so
recommendation is anytime you see an open sign on a door, walk in, because that shop owner is going to want to talk to you and share your experiences, why you're there.
They really do.
And where you're from, and what's it like where you are, and chances are they're going to speak your language, because they talk French or Italian all day, and they're going to want to practice their English. So
They really do. And I think having somebody like you that can help somebody navigate, like, okay, what towns do I go to? Because there's so many choices. I know that my husband and I, we spend a lot of time like watching YouTube videos. I bought this Wonder app and kind of, navigated everything through. But being as busy as I am, like I did that last time for my wedding, and I was like, I want to do this, but we didn't get actually all the research in that I really would have liked to have done. And when I was doing it, I was thinking I really should have reached out to a travel planner because this would have saved me so much time.
Right. That's what we're there for. And we get contacts constantly from these little boutique hotels in these small towns that are offering upgrades or offering discounts, which you wouldn't know about. So
No?
we have that right at our fingertips. Coming up on this festive time of the year, we're seeing a lot of that now. We're seeing third night for free, fourth night for free in places like Charleston or Austin or little places in Carlsbad, California, or the places that you don't traditionally think to travel to, but they're the places that need it.
Yes.
After what we've all been through, they're looking to revitalize that. I just spent 4 days in Wyoming, in some of the smallest towns I've ever been. One of them had a population of 900, and I could walk down Main Street and not see a car for 10 minutes. It was fantastic, but it was like an old Western town, and they were so appreciative that I was there that everyone talked to me. Every shop owner just wanted to spend time talking, like, why are you here? What are you doing? Oh, if you're interested in that, go see that mountain or go up the road to see this. So it just makes for such a deeper travel experience, which I love to provide to my clients.
Oh, that's great. Well, I definitely think that if you're interested in traveling, you should reach out to William and have him plan your next trip. Well, try to do it yourself.
Don't try to do it yourself.
It takes a lot of time, and for somebody who is well traveled, I do know that there are certain bumps in the road that you can go through by not having that person that can help you navigate some of that. it can be difficult and save you from a lot of aggravation, so you can really enjoy your trip more. So, and we're going to have your website, links on your website.
Great.
Where you can reach out to him if you want help and advice for booking your next corporate retreat or your next trip.
Thanks.
Thank you so much for being on the show today.
You're very welcome.
And thank you for tuning in to Learning Curves. Hope to see you next time.